is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know, if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know, if I'll ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down.
Welcome, beautiful souls. My name is Rainey. I am a generational psychic medium and a spiritual educator. I'm also a spirit channeler. I channel spirit through me. And I do forensic psychic mediumship as well. But I'm not here to talk about that. I am here to introduce you to a person that I have had the pleasure to watch grow into a person who knows where they're going. And I said earlier to her, and the reason sometimes you'll see me looking all over is because I'm channeling spirit. I'm asking spirit to guide me because that's been my success, and I feel and see energy. So I'm surrendering to that. So sometimes life, and this person just is this embodiment of it, risks everything. I mean everything for a dream that no one else can see. And when you meet her, my goal is to have her inspire you to take those inspired actions, because her inspired ideas matter. And they're going to show you that when you are truly driven by spirit, you trust that intuition, you trust the gifts that everybody has, all of the possibilities that are available to you too. Is everything always butterflies and roses? No. But what I love about her is she expands that light beyond her body, and she translates that energy into those things that I'm always preaching about, opportunities. What I love about her, she's the embodiment of the message that life gives you lessons, and then you turn them into opportunities, and you ask spirit to see, and you surrender to that process. And so without another moment of waiting on my beautiful, sweet, she used to be a client, and she's taken a couple of my classes. And recently we did a past life regression, but she has turned into a wonderful I'm grateful. She's my friend, and she has made my heart. She's filled pieces of my heart to where I know we have traveled in the same path in past lives. She's like a sister to me. I'm getting choked up because she gives me strength. When you meet her, you're going to be blown away. So let's welcome Suzanne. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, my beautiful friend.
Rainey, hi, my dear.
I am so privileged to have this time with you today. We're going to try to go for about an hour, and if we go a little bit over, no big thing. We are going to be guided by spirit. So introduce yourself. Give us a brief introduction of who you are, where your gifts came from. Just tell us about you.
Well, I'm Suzanne. I'm a middle-aged woman. I'm 45. I'm in healthcare. I have had a majority of my gifts since I've been born, but as times have changed, they have grown and I've been added more. I am a religious and a spiritual person, and religious meaning I believe in a higher God and don't know who that is. And I also believe in the spiritual side that works more so with the gifts and guide you and, help heal, listen. I'm a Reiki too, so I do that. I have some psychic ability, so I'm still growing that and working on that. And just the intuition and knowing.
I just love that about you. So when I first met you, tell everybody about our first meeting. When we had a reading. Let's start with the reading first and then the classes.
Well, the first time I met Rainey, I kind of wanted to know where I was going, and I was at the Reiki Enchanted Center with a lot of other gifted people, but I was like, I need a psychic. And then I had seen Rainey walk past actually, and I was like, who is that? And they said, that's Rainey. And I said, well, I need to book something with her. And then when we first met, we both were like, oh my gosh, look at you. I feel so comfy. And
it's Rainey, like we had known each other.
Yeah.
And that's, I think we have had several past lives together, walking side by side. I felt that from the moment I met you.
Yeah, I feel that. And like my second reading with you was what was so life-changing, because you gave me a basic reading and I listened to what you said. And so I started getting more into the crystals and trying to listen more to spirit and hone in on that. And then I needed some direction. So I scheduled a meeting with you. And what was so profound about that was you were like, I said, Rainey, I want to go to school, but I don't have the money, blah, blah, blah. And you were like, you know what? I see spirit saying, go to school, go to school. She's like, don't worry about the money. It'll be there. And so I listened and I went to school and got my bachelor's. And not only did I not have to pay, but I got money back like 4 times unexpectedly and way more than I expected. So everything she told me, was just on point. You've been.
But here's a question for you. And a lot of people get. So when I give a reading, I always tell everybody, take what resonates and throw the rest away. Never trust a psychic medium, but go with your gut. So when I told you that, what did you feel? Were you able, did it give you more fear, or were you able to just step out of that fear? That's a profound message. Go to school, don't worry about the money. And you followed it. Most people would be like, son of a gun, what? Just go and don't worry about these thousands of dollars of money? What? How did that feel? How did you translate it and just take that leap of faith? Because that's all within you.
Well, it resonated. Yeah, it resonated. And I came with a question and I just didn't have any doubt. When, sometimes when you hear things, you question, and there was just no questions. And I said, okay, I believe that was the message directly to me. So let me listen, because if I didn't listen, I might have missed it. And so it felt all right. I was at peace. I didn't second guess it or anything like that. I said, oh yeah, so let me do it. And that's what I did. And it wasn't easy. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't easy, but I kept back going like, you know what? You told my friend and you told me. So I'm listening. So you got to make it happen. And it did. But I had to press through, but it was well worth it. Well worth it.
And so you got a degree.
Yes.
And you've been doing that full time, correct?
Yes.
So let me ask you this. So you're a natural healer. You've known this all along. And in your mind, I'm picking up that you're still kind of tapping into that you're still developing it. I think you already have it. I just think you need to, just like you trusted the message to go to school, don't worry about the money. I think you need to trust yourself more because you are this natural born healer. And look at the field of study that you went into, girl.
Right, right. And I always tell you, and I know it's funny you say that. Because
So many people say that to me. It's so funny you say that. I'm like, but I am a psychic.
Yeah, no, I just had an experience. We have mutual friends, Sid and Jess, and she just got her thyroidectomy. And I had an experience, and they're all the way in San Francisco or San Diego. And I sent healing balls of light to them. And I actually saw the light balls just go. And I saw it go into the OR before Jess got there. And I sent it to Sid too. I didn't know the family was there. And so then I'm like, I'm feeling heaviness, and I had to reach out like, hey, Sid, is your chest heavy? Like, are you okay? So long story short, her chest was heavy. And I told her, well, I felt that. And I sent healing light balls. I sent my whole angel team. Like, I was very vulnerable because they needed that. So I sent them all to just surround them. And she was like, Suzanne, I see light balls in the corner of the room. She's like, and I see light coming from my feet up. And then moving forward, I was like, Jess is good. She's out of surgery. And I'm like, Jess, did you see something in the ER with you? She's like, oh my God, before I went down, Suzanne, I saw this big ball of light. And she's like, was that you? I'm like, it sure was. And it was like I was in the journey with them, and I heard Ladybug. So I said, Sid, does the nickname Ladybug mean anything to you? Because I hear a woman telling me that. And she was like, that's what Jess's mom calls her, and they're a wreck right now. I said, okay, everybody's good. And it just was amazing. And Sid said, Suzanne, I think you're there. I've watched you grow. And she's like, I said, because it was like surreal. It was overwhelming, never experienced. So to corner back with what you said, I believe you're probably right, because this is the second time I've said that or heard it. And then I had that whole experience, and it was like, whoa. So yeah, it was exciting.
And what I love about you is you're just so authentic. You're just so yourself. And what I love about you too is that you have the religion and you balance the spirituality. And a lot of people don't understand that you can have both. And
Yes.
when you call in your angels, for me, I have a relationship with my angels, especially the Seraphim and Archangel Michael for protection. So where did the angels come into your life? When did you first start using angels?
Angels actually have been using me since
What?
since I was a kid. I used to have dreams of, like, growing up, those were my dreams, the angelic and the demonic realm. Unfortunately, I went on, or not unfortunately, but it was scary. Let me say that when you're younger and you just don't know. But I've always been in touch with that angelic realm. And actually, when I got in a car accident and had like the out of body experience, that's when I really realized, like, oh, this angel thing is really real. It's really beyond the dreams. And so they use me to kind of show me how to find my voice, how to believe beyond what I see, and to feel protected. Because even though I've had scary dreams, like when you get thrown out the window and then you're an angel, and at first you were looking at those angels and now you're one, it's like, oh, I'm okay. And everything's okay. So more so, I just always feel like, protected and loved and watched over. And being human in this body, sometimes you fall short of that. So it's nice to have that, because I come back to that remembrance, like, you guys are here. I'm not alone, even though I'm human. And I'm like, oh, so they've always used me, but I've become more aware of it in my adult age, when I was not so scared and more willing to accept everything and understand and accept and believe that I'm different and I'm here for a reason.
Unbelievable. You are here for a reason. And when you had a couple of classes with me, I think,
Yes.
but it feels as though you've navigated these beautiful unfoldings. I call them an unfolding because it's almost like you're on a journey and an adventure. And it's like, even still to this day, even though I was born this way, I'm still growing and gaining more. I call them spidey senses. But
Yeah.
How did you navigate this? Because I don't know that you've really had, because I have my grandmother Oz who mentored me. How did you navigate those times? Because when people have gifts, and because there is good and evil, and I really feel right now in our world, it is a fight against good and evil.
Agreed.
It truly is. And it can be scary because I also have seen lower vibrational frequencies, demons. And there's sometimes where I don't get scared, but I get startled because I'm like, oh, well, hello. How did you navigate through all of this? Because it sounds like you didn't really have someone in your family or a mentor to kind of show you this. And it could be part of the belief in a higher power too. I don't know.
No, agreed. I've been blessed throughout my years that I have people who will come in and show me so much, and then they'll leave and show me so much. And then because I've always heard God, people call him spirit, other words, but I've always heard that. And that's been a strong guiding force. I had my grandmother a lot to help me because she was gifted in a different way. She had that one, like she prayed, it happened. It was changed like almost instantaneously. So between my faith, and belief in the higher power, and then knowing that I'm different, and it's coincides, it does coincide with the Bible, but it's different times then. So they use different words. That's how I've come to make it work for me, so to speak. So I've had just people step in my way, and then I've heard what I'm supposed to do. And I've been told you're about to go into the wilderness. So at that time I knew I had nothing, but I still had to navigate it. But it was learning to know why I feel the way I feel, why things, how I integrate them or understand them, how it affects me. So I've had guiding forces, not always constant, but I've had little peeps in this and that, and then experiences I've had from witches to warlocks, white light, I've had psychics, mediums, I've had healers, and I've had angels. So I've had this guidance. I believe everyone has gifts, let's say this, but I believe everyone who chooses to function and operate and really transmute them to now, they have that guidance along the way. But if you don't recognize what it is, then you don't know that's what it is. But since I know I'm of the world, I'm in the world, but not of the world, I've always realized that that's what was for me. So yeah, it's just been people along the way. And yeah.
And you know that you have gifts. Did you,
yes,
you
ma'am.
took a class from me? Did you take a class?
I took a couple, yeah.
Which classes did you take? Or can you tell me what were your aha moments in those classes? Can you describe them and kind of guide us through what the experience was?
Well, the aha moment, and I did the psychic development with you. So that was, or was that what it was when we were all online and kind of doing our intuitive play?
Yeah,
so
they were just psychic development. Mm-hmm. Several different kinds. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were on there, and then just the play, it was, and hearing feedback from everyone else who was, in the group, and we all kind of had the same thing. It's like, stop doubting yourself. Everybody's doing the same thing. They're thinking, so you're on the right level, right? And actually, we haven't talked about it, but what was really profound was the past life regressions. I had a many aha moments during that.
Yes. So that's a great segue. Oh, and by the way, we're still going to do a life review with 2 other people, but I'll talk to you about that offline. So let me give them a brief idea of what it is. I have an 11-day past life blueprint, and you go on this 11-day journey, and every day you do exercises that build upon itself. For me, past life is, my grandmother did this past life regressions. Gosh, so many of them. I would always just jump in because she led these big groups. But for me, it tells me why I have some of the relationship with certain people that I do. It helps me understand them at a deeper level. It also brings forward those things you don't even know that are causing you from not following your truest, highest path, that you don't even know exist. But then they also show you why you have fears. Why do certain things trigger you? I mean, past life regression for me is healing. It's a way to understand why you feel certain things in this life's path. Once you recognize that you can deal with it, oh, that's why that is. Once you know you have an issue and what it is, it's you're clear about your intention. It allows you, instead of holding it inside, you allow it to pass through you so that it's not a part of you anymore. So tell us some of your experiences, if you wouldn't mind sharing.
Oh no, I've been waiting. I've been waiting. So you know how we do the 10 tenets and we do the grounding. It didn't initially start, but like probably the third day when we did that, when I was doing it, you know, the grounding, I actually saw my energy go to the core of Mother Earth and wrap around it. And then I felt it come back and I was like, whoa, this is real. And not that I had doubts, but just that feeling. And it was like, I can connect, you know, it was like, I am able to do that. Because sometimes, you know, you think because you're not there, or you believe you're not there, you don't have that ability to do things. But when that happened, I was like, oh, I can ground, and she sends energy back. I was like, oh, and so it was just it, and I could see the wraparound of the core and see it come back, and then it stopped. And so then now I'm going up to the divine and I'm bringing my white light down. And it was times that I felt it. And then Archangel Michael, he lets me know in my room since this journey, though, when I did the invocation, when he comes in my room, my blinds go. And that's him saying, my wings are here. So, hey, I'm here. And so that, like, you know, my blinds go a little bit because I have the ceiling fan, but I mean, they're like, woo, and I'm like, oh, you're here now. Okay. So that like was really like, whoa. And so, you know, each step, and I did have a day where all of the things, and I mean situations, not even necessarily people, but just situations, people too, that I didn't even realize hurt me. But I thought about it, and then I actually dug deep, and I was like, so why did that bother me? You know, and I was able to kind of look at a different side, like, okay, well, you were young, you might not have understood. And I was able to let a lot of that go once I understood why it hurt me. And even it was times like, why am I thinking about this? Like, I didn't even know that bothered me, but because it was dropping in and I felt, you know, we were doing the cleansing and being clear, you know, and being on a higher vibration, I did get to heal from a lot of hurts that I really didn't understand. But two things were like super profound. When I did the heart cleansing meditation, I went and walked my dog, and this is the first time I did it, you know, the first day we do it in there. And when I was walking, it was like my soul was integrating. I felt it, I saw it. And even though it's going to sound weird, I'm walking my dog, but I was not my height. I was like up here. So I knew that it was like coming down, and I felt it. And my higher self said, your soul is watching you. And I'm like, what? When I was walking, and
chills.
I'm like,
I'm getting chills.
Yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh. And then when I'm walking, I'm like, I'm integrating like what was, I don't want to say lost, but I believe when we travel into these new bodies, we don't bring everything because it's too much for us to handle here in this body. But that really closed and brought it all. And it's like, okay, I'm integrating. So I felt that, but it was weird to be, I'm only 5'5", but I was truly looking at like from a 6 foot height standpoint. And it was amazing. And I'm like, that's what this is. And I'm like, excuse my words, I'm like, this shit works. Like,
I know,
right?
It's like, son of a bitch. Because, you know, we don't realize that we lose pieces of ourselves along the way as our soul continues to grow. And it's as if what you did is you called back some of those pieces to start making you whole again. And, you know, a lot of people, I love that you talked about, because our higher self, our soul is about 2 feet above our crown chakra. And a lot of people don't realize that this is not a void. There is energy piping through, and you are integrating and allowing that energy to connect you not only to your higher self, but above. And you realize for the first time that Mother Earth is a sentient being. It's just like any other spirit guide, that this is a feminine energy that you can call on. And her heart is so full, and she's so willing to be a part of your journey. I am so grateful that you recognize what that energy was.
Yes,
And it's a recognition. It feels amazing, doesn't it?
It does. And you can't deny, you know, because I'm an empath also, I can't deny what I feel. And so that was like, you know, it was love. It wasn't like, oh, I have this super strength and superpower, but it was like love and calm. Like, here you go. Thank you for doing, you know, I felt the gratitude actually coming from her. And it was just, it was amazing.
And it raises through gratitude, you raise your vibrational energy.
Yes.
And grounding for me is when you're grounded, it allows you to be in the present moment. And a lot of people are not in the present moment. And I have found, since I've met you and have known you, and so grateful to know you, that you are more grounded, you're more present, you feel more like in this space. And that's where you gather your strength from. That's where that surrender and that just understanding that you are on this divine path, and it's not your timing as a human, it's that higher power. Some people call it God. You can call it whatever you want. It's just your frame of reference that you are guided by this divine being, this other sentient being that knows what's best for you. So you're on another journey. You're making a huge life change. And tell us why and how that came about, and the move and the house, and how did you use what you have gleaned through all of these years? I call them spidey senses. For me, they're a superpower, and I don't care to put labels on them. I'm this, I'm that. Tell us how this gave you that strength or that guidance. What has this done for you? And tell us about your new journey.
So honestly, I owe a lot to you, my dear. I do have
to
say that.
No. Thank you, but it's not me, it's spirit.
No, well, spirit through you. Yes, spirit through you. But when it comes, I have to kind of go back with the grounding. When you notice those off things, you tell me. And so I take what you say to heart, and I'm like, okay, she said I needed to ground. So what do I need to do to be more present? So I listen, and then meditation helps a lot. The fact that, you know, also with the past life regression, and even you before, you don't meditate without an intention. And I didn't realize that. I think his name was Steve, right? Or yeah.
Meditation is the universal law of listening. Intention is the universal law of asking. So you set your intention because you're asking the universe for guidance, and then you meditate, you listen, because that's where you get those downloads and that divine direction.
Right.
I'm so glad you use that. Makes a difference, doesn't it?
No, it does, to be specific and not be scared to ask for the guidance for specifically what you need, not broad, because if you ask broad, you don't get what you're really looking for. You get that broad answer. But when you
have to be clear about your intention. Be specific.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Yes. Even if you think it's too big, there's nothing too big, because along this journey, my time is up here. You know, I came because my grandmother asked me, and God rest her soul, and my grandfathers, they passed. And so I only came to Vegas because of her. But I also understand that that was my path, but I just know that this isn't where I'm supposed to be. I had went to Georgia, and just there was this peace that just overcame me. And, you know, when you get older and you live this life, and you're like, when you feel that, because I've never felt that before. So that peace, and it's like, okay, well, I need to be there. How do I get there? So the bachelor's was one, getting a degree so that I can work, and then learning more about the gifts, because that's where I'm going to fully become who I'm supposed to be, whether I stay there or not. That's where all of this is going to grow. But just a lot of meditation and just kind of, even though you feel like, because this is new, I don't know nobody there. I know one person, but I can't put, that on one person because that one person has a life. But for self, it's like, okay, well, this is peaceful. This is new. You're changing. So you have to get into the new yourself. You have to get beyond that scared and kind of, you just have to, step up, put your big draws on and just kind of,
I
go
love
for
that. But I also love that you said, don't be afraid to ask because it's never too big. Honey, I'm going to write that down and use that because that is so declarative. That is so specific. And a lot of people do dream very small. And then you tied it kind of being scared because when you dream big, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah. The unknown it's scary because you don't know. But what I also realized is, one, I deserve these things, because we all struggle. Life isn't a box of chocolates. We have those moments, but I deserve these things. And I never, until these moments that are adding up, truly did what my true potential is, if that makes sense. I've always kind of been like,
a little guarded.
Yeah.
We're taking baby steps instead of taking these huge leaps of faith. Because
Right.
I'm going to say something right now, and you've probably heard me say it. Hope is not a fucking plan. Hope keeps you paralyzed. It's like having a vision board. Oh, I hope I get a pool boy with 6-pack abs and a purple Porsche.
Yeah.
I mean, is that really for my highest and best? If I got a Porsche, I probably go too fast, and I'm not the greatest of drivers, so I might hurt somebody else. So Spirit knows better than we do. And I think you use that in this journey, and you just did something and you dreamt big. And tell us what that was, because you're purchasing a home.
I am. I'm moving to Georgia and never saw the house. Just everything's just been, like I say, guided, and a lot of meditation and prayer to step out and go into something that is for me, because I deserve that. And you can't reach your full potential or even get close if you never give yourself that chance. So to step into that unknown and to have that faith and believe that, okay, I've done what I could do here in Vegas, and my time, is up. Not that I won't ever come back, but my growth is progressing and I need to move with it and not be just stuck in this stagnant place and that I wish, oh, I want, or I should know. You have to be the action of your plan. You get these thoughts and you get, the dreams and aspirations, but if you don't take action to it, nothing's ever going to change. And I had to step up for self, like, you know what? It's time, Suzanne. It's time for you to come into your own, even if you're scared, even if you know nothing about nothing out there. You just have to believe that that's for your best. And that's what I do. I believe. I had a realtor out there. I got this 4-bedroom home that closes on October 13th. And so even though my daughter's moving, that's enough room for me to have my little, finally, a sacred space.
Your sacred space. Yay! So you took this inspired action and you trusted and had faith that what you were feeling and being guided to, you would always be supported. And that's why I tell people, everybody has a gift. You really need to fine tune it, understand what that gift is. Because when you find your dominant gift, all these other gifts start coming through. And it's a tool that you can use to live your best life. And you are the embodiment of surrendering and translating those downloads into inspired action. And you were right about, you have to take action because the Spirit's not going to do it for you.
No, they give you, I call it drop-ins sometimes.
I like that term. I'm learning so much. I'm going to use that, drop-ins.
Yeah, it just dropped in and it's like, well, why am I thinking about this? People, and I'm sometimes a victim of that, not more so now, but I have been that, you have these thoughts and it's like, well, why am I thinking about that? we have to think why we're thinking about that and why did that drop in, because there's reasons for that. But if you don't kind of, as you say, go down that rabbit hole and figure out why did that even come in, you will never know. And those, for some people, those are our gifts, that drop in moments, like, oh, okay, that's spirit telling us. But, you know, as humans, we want this big old shaking of the earth, you know, and like, you have to do this, but it's not like that. Sometimes it's so subtle.
You're right, because I'm writing a book about the Wizard of Oz and our own spirituality. And when you just did that, that reminded me that they thought they had to go in front of this great and powerful Wizard of Oz and get that approval. And it's more subtle than that. It is so much more subtle than that. And when you are truly guided by spirit, beautiful things happen. Beautiful things happen. So you're on this new beautiful life journey. I can't wait to see everything unfold. I already kind of see what's going to happen, and I am not going to, don't ask me because I'm not going to tell you.
No spoiler alerts?
No spoiler alerts, because I think that everything beyond your wildest dreams, and what I've learned about you is you've learned to ask spirit. So talk about that. Like, what do you ask spirit, and what have they delivered to you? Because people forget, you can talk to spirit, you can talk, and spirit is all about free will. And sometimes if you don't ask, they're still waiting, like, when is she going to ask? Yes. When is she going to realize that we are here to deliver? So tell me about some of the things that maybe, it might not even be this house. What have you asked for, and what have they brought forward, and how did that all kind of unfold?
Well, I will talk about the house, because that's, you know, it's been a journey. And so trying to get a home, you know, it's like, I'll be transparent. I went through a lease purchase program. So, you know, they bought the home for me and I'm buying it back.
Neat.
But, yeah.
That's so cool. See, and you know what? You found a way.
Yes, because it didn't seem like there was one. Just because I was told this is where you need to go and this is what you need to do, I still had to kind of navigate through that. They said, this is where I want you to be, but what do I need to do to get there? So I was very direct, like, spirit, I did, you know, set my space, my sacred space, called in my angel team, lit my candle, and my intention was, what do I need to do to get to Georgia in 30 days?
That's specific. Now that's an intention, girl. That's an intention. 30 days.
Yes. You know, being a nurse, you learn it has to be reasonable. It has to be a time, and it has to be attainable. So it's like, what do I need to do to get there in 30 days? Because whatever I'm trying isn't working. And honestly, because I was ready to leave the realtor because I felt that she wasn't doing what she was supposed to be doing. And spirit said, can I get it to like be exact? Spirit said, you need to be patient. Your house is coming in time. Forgive your realtor because she is going through something personal, and go into contract. And literally within a week, all of that happened. Like, me and my realtor had a come to Jesus conversation, so to speak, like on that Monday. And she was like, on it. And by the end of the week, I had that house, and I was like, whew, look at how you work. I was like, thank you. And I always remember to say thank you, even though I'm not in meditation. I always, when I'm realizing what's unfolding in front of me, I have to take that moment and say thank you, because I feel like if I don't thank, then when I come back, I can't just take and not be grateful for what's happening, you know?
Yeah, so because that's that grace of, I call it grace of God. And again, I'm just using God because that's people's form of reference. Yes. But I always feel that if I am touched by that grace, that I must show grace back.
Yes.
And
yes.
Thank you for bringing that up, because that's when you really see the magic. That's when those inspired ideas just start to really form and become true, and they come to fruition. Sometimes It's like, oh God, where's my seatbelt? Because this is gonna go really fast.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I don't know if you felt this, because we're human, even though we have these beautiful gifts, we're still going through those life lessons in this soul. This body only carries my soul.
Yes.
But I want this to be the most profound life.
Yes.
So that my soul can continue to grow and just to go into those other spaces that I know are ahead of me. But what I love about you is you are co-creating with spirit.
You can't be a passenger all the time. Sometimes you have to become the driver and have spirit be your passenger. You know, you have to work together. It's not you do it all on your own. You know, we're all guided and told, but like I say, we have to listen and believe that that's for our good. I don't believe spirit is going to tell me anything that I'm not going to benefit from, even if it's not something I don't want to hear.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's those self-realizations, and some people will get angry or put up a defensive wall when spirit they feel like they're kind of being attacked, because that's your ego. That's your ego stepping in the way. And I've always taught people that ego is like a sentient being, just like Mother Earth, just like Archangel Michael. And when we feel that coming into our existence, our human existence, I've named mine. Mine is Bob. It's not Richard or Dick, although sometimes, again, I'd love to call it Dick.
Right.
And I will recognize it sometimes when that's happening and say, listen, you have no power over me, Bob. Go into the closet. I don't need you right now. Your ego has its job in sometimes keeping you safe from certain things, but it also keeps you locked in a state of not moving forward. It paralyzes you. It gives you that hope, and hope is not a plan. Hope does not help you honor your inner and outer world. And what I love about you is you're living your life as your soul self. You have finally come into and I want to circle back to what you first talked about. You have bridged that gap between soul and your human existence. What does that feel like to you now? Give us a before and an after, because you are not the same person that I met.
I don't think I'm not. No.
In a beautiful way, you've evolved.
Yes, I feel that way. I guess you can explain it of more kind of, you fly by the seat of your pants. And when that happened, I became more whole. And there was a whole different type of understanding that came. And it's almost like I could step out too and kind of look and see like, okay, well, this is going on. And instead of letting that whole moment like, overwhelm me, it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. Why is this happening? And kind of, just step out of it and understand that this is what it is in this moment. So what can we do to move forward? I just feel more complete and calm, like, how can I explain? People are like, oh my God, you haven't, what is it? I said, you know what? I've done what I can do. All I can, believe in is that since I'm doing my part, it's just going to come back and pan out the way it is. It just kind of, I'm not so impatient and confused anymore. It's a whole different realization. And I believe I'm still coming into that, but
integrating into that peaceful flow, because when you really trust that there is something outside of you, and you kind of get out of your head and you work in this beautiful realm of spiritual energies, you really have a sense of peacefulness. Like, yes, everything's going to turn out the way it's supposed to, because when we drive the bus, it can be catastrophic and set us back. Absolutely. But when you are truly guided by spirit, I always ask spirit, just let me see it when it comes. Help me recognize it. I did want to go a little bit deeper into, are you willing to share one of your past lives and how that how it affected you? Was what changed? Because spirit will only show you what you're ready to hear, know, and experience. And they won't take you into a past life that you're not ready to grow with. I call it show me so I can grow. Are you willing to share one of those with us?
Absolutely.
I'm so excited. We're going to do so in this program, and I wasn't able to do it with you because the other participant hasn't committed to that. But I've got 2 other people that are coming up on their life review, and we'll all get together. But life review is so important because it's putting the puzzle pieces together. So during one of your past lives, tell us about it. Did it have a profound effect? Was there a lesson or a message? What was the theme? How did you die? All of that stuff. Can you give us one?
So I had a few regressions during the first and the last one. The second one was kind of uncomfortable, and I will talk about that. But so I have it written down, so my apologies for not. So I'm going off my memory because I did write and journal. But one of them, I was on a purple planet, and like the sky was purple. And it was like we were souls. We didn't have bodies or forms, but you just saw, and you couldn't tell who was male, who was female. It just like a iridescent.
Androgynous.
Yeah, and we were all iridescent, but not see-through. And so I was looking,
like just an energy, a ball of energy.
Yeah. Well, no, we were long. Like you could.
Oh, so you had form.
Yes. You could like see the hands, but you didn't see like, breasts or mouths or,
It was
eyes
an androgynous being.
Yes.
That's cool. And
yes,
purple.
The background, like the sky was purple. It was purple trees. Like it was. And it's ironic because purple's my favorite color. And I'm like, oh, I come from the purple planet. No wonder why. It's like, that's why
right?
I love purple.
I know.
So I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, and I'm looking and I'm seeing all these other souls. And then I saw one and I'm like, that's me. Like, I just knew that was me. And so at that point, it was like a voop. And I'm like, okay, so now I'm looking and it's like, oh, I can see my hands, like it was fingers. But, you, like I say, yeah, like you said, androgynous, or it was just, and I'm looking, but it was peace in there. It was love, like it was all filled, and everyone had something to do. And when you went past, you knew that this is what this person was doing, but it was calm in there. I didn't see myself pass away in that, but I did just know, okay, well, that's the exoplanet I come from, so it's like, it felt great to like realize like, okay, so I've been saying I'm not from here. I'm really not, because I believe some people, even though we're all souls, some people actually originate from Earth, but there are some that originate from other places. And I am like, I originate from somewhere. I don't know where it is. And then I was in the womb and I was like, whoa. And I knew it was the womb because it was like bubbly and it was like water. And I'm just looking around, and that's how it started before I went to the purple. And so I was like, whoa, okay. So I don't know how that went, but okay.
What was the message from that lifetime? Because I feel that that's another dimension, time and space. And what people have a little bit of, they think that our progression and past life regression is from caveman times and only on this earth, but we jump all over. We don't evolve like humans evolved on earth. Our souls evolve in many dimensions, space and time,
Yes.
that folded upon folded other dimensions. I love what you just talked about. What was the lesson, do you think, or was there a profound message? Or remember when we first were talking about light codes? Do you understand now what light codes can be from that experience?
I do.
Talk about those.
I do.
The lesson.
There were cabinets. The lesson is you have to believe who you are, because, it was that moment where, I was looking at, well, not ever fearful, but just like, where is this? And then when that integration happened, it's like, you know what? You are someone who has a purpose, and not that they're saying this is what it is, but you are here. This is what you're doing. You're a worker. You have things to do. So when I woke up from that, it was more an amazement, like, I'm special. I am somebody. I'm here to do something. And we all are, though, it just was that overwhelming thing that kind of defined that you're here for a reason. You did come from somewhere else, but you have work to do here. That's kind of what I got from that. And that peace and calm comes from that. You come from a place where it's not chaotic like the world. There is places that it can be calm, and you can bring that all with you. So that's what I got from that.
You can bring that all with you. So once you had that realization, did you feel this present human existence, did that affect you and change anything about you currently?
I got a little bit more confident that nothing is by accident. And it was, I just keep coming back because you hear we're a soul having a human experience, and we all agree to go through these things. If we all truly went through our life, what we went through, it's like, when did I agree to go through that?
Right? Why would I even consider that mess?
Absolutely.
Do I want to hurt myself all day long? Do I really want to be this miserable? But
right.
I think we choose that sometimes for the growth.
Yes. And even like to carry anger, but to realize that I come from a place, or I've been to a place even, that is nothing like this. And we're all simultaneously, harmoniously, if that's the right word, working together for a purpose. Yes. And so it's like same kind of thing. Like, even though you're not there, you're still doing this same act, but it's here now. So it just kind of helps for me, it's just like, okay, well, let's realize and let's kind of dig in deep, Suzanne, you're going. And it gave me confidence and courage to just keep going and wanting to learn more and actually be more open, because there were no secrets up there, even though we didn't talk. Like, it was more telekinetic type of things, but it just was like, okay, well, that's how that functions. So bring that all down here.
I love that. And I have a couple of more questions before we sign off. So I have been shown recently, and I would love to get what you feel, that yes, we do, because you just talked about, we all agree to a contract when we reincarnate into physical form. Our soul does. And we've kind of mapped out what our contract is. But lately, I've been seeing, and I've had a couple of clients who wanted me to connect to a departed loved one, and their departed loved one came through, because I am a medium as well, that somebody intervened, that this wasn't their contract. And I really feel we are in a fight between good and evil. What is your understanding? Because I never thought this way until recently. What is your understanding about our contracts? And do you think that something very powerful is changing those contracts without our soul's permission?
Absolutely. It's funny you say that.
We were just talking offline that everybody says that to me. Rainey, it's funny you say that. And I'm like, yeah. Well, I am a psychic.
No, absolutely so you
cute.
Are. Absolutely you are. Actually, that's what some people in a group, we've actually been dealing with that and actually talking about that also. And it actually goes down to like the Akashic records. And yes, your soul is not, but I'm thinking, and we're kind of collectively thinking, that the way the world is going now and the awakening that's happening, if we all still stick on these contracts, what we're meant to do isn't going to happen. So it's almost like, oh my gosh, Shrek. Remember how he signed the contract and then it like disappeared? But if he did this is how it would work, or this how it wouldn't. That's kind of how the feel we're getting. So we did agree to do this, but if we keep going through that, or we've learned that lesson and don't need to take it to the end, so now we have to come back this way so that we can more so fulfill our purpose and come into our gifts and understanding to push everyone to come up. Because, we still got these people who are down in like 4th and 3rd, and we're in 5th, probably about to like go to 6th in a little bit. And so I just think that I don't know what that is. And that's what we're still trying to work on as a collective, but they are changing. And what we've also come to understand is sometimes, like, if I tell you, Rainey, the sky is blue, you hear everyone say the sky is blue, but when you look, the sky is orange to you. But because you've heard all these people, this is what you've accepted. And so just because you've accepted it does not mean that that's what it really is and what's for you. So almost like denouncing some things, and breaking it down and then rebuilding that thought to what is truth and not what someone told you, what you've been programmed to know. That's kind of where we're at with that. And it kind of makes sense because, like, think of like sickness, people are like, oh, I have allergies or I have this. because this is what happened, or because my mom is this way, because my dad is this way. We've accepted things that don't belong to us. And so they're not necessarily even contracts, but because we're in agreement, this is now our contract. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it does. It's because it's almost like we have to tell a story of who we are, as opposed to, change the energy, because we are what we project. And it's also like you're projecting someone else's story.
Yes.
So you're an empath, and you've changed your story. You have rewritten your story. As an empath, tell us what you have learned so that you can navigate this earth, because poor empaths. An empath picks up other people's energy and doesn't even know that it's not even theirs. How has that affected you from before and now? What tools do you use? How did you operate before you knew you were an empath? And then how did you learn these tools? What do you do?
Before I knew I was an empath, I was a wreck. Honestly speaking, because I didn't even realize that those emotions or those feelings or those sicknesses weren't mine. A patient actually brought that to me, because I come in and I say, hey, okay, I got this, and this for you. And what about this? And she's like, Suzanne, I think you're an empath. And I was like, what is that? And she was like, it's someone who feels someone's feelings. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to look it up. Why do you say that? And she's like, how do you know what I need? How do you know what to always say? And I said, because they give me reports. She says, no, I've been in da-da-da-da, and you're going further than that. So when I did my research on what an empath really is, and it took me actually getting sick from working in the hospital and going through like the gastro, because it was all stomach, for them to come back like it's nothing wrong with you. And it's like, well, wait a minute, I might need to look into this empath thing a little bit more. And so I started learning how to protect myself. And I also have to ask self, like, are these my feelings or are these someone else's? It's almost, like when you pick up the crystal and say, is this for my highest and best good? And if you lean forward and that's your yes, then it is. And if you lean forward and it's your no, then it's not. So finding what my true yes and no is, so that when I ask these questions, self says, well, yeah, these are your feelings. Oh, no, they're not. And if they're not, then I need to send them back, return to sender with love, because they don't need to be attached to me. Even though I wear crystals, like I do the black tourmaline and the tourmalated quartz. And I also keep kyanite, blue kyanite. Those are like in my pouch all the time. And
I love how you use crystals, because crystals are very powerful, and it's the intention that you put on them as well.
And they work different for everyone.
Yes.
They do. But just learning about what your gifts are and how they affect you. But as an empath, you truly have to really know that, is this me or is this someone else? Because like I work in the DMV doing the COVID testing now, and some days I come home very drained. And even though we sit there, I'm the lead. So I'm just watching. I do vaccinate sometimes, but I'm not really expunging all the energy that I should come back feeling drained. And it's because the healer that I am, I'm just sitting there going like this and not realizing it. That's what spirit actually showed me, because I was like, why am I so tired? But also the fact that sometimes it's like, I'm like, I got to get out of here. But then I have to, regroup and become very present. Like, hold on, wait a minute. Is this my feeling or is this someone else? There's hundreds of people in here. So just kind of learning more about your gifts and learning what, if you choose to, crystals protect and reflect, as I say, or, just push away. You have to learn what works best for you and the combinations. And then saging helps a lot. Spirit says, you know what, you're too heavy. I come home and it's like I have to, sage everything, cleanse it out, and just, give it back. But I've learned that if the feeling isn't mine, and I've realized that and acknowledged it and say, okay, this is anxiety. It's not mine. I don't know who it comes from, but you know what? I'm going to take it in, push it back out with love and light, return to sender, and because it's not mine. So we don't have to keep it. That's I don't have to keep it. So yeah,
I love that. And that helps you project a different energy. because we don't
Yes.
realize we are our projection. You know, we have these human chakras, and outside of that, we have this aura, this energetic essence. And that's our projection. So if we are consumed in everybody else's energy, that's what you're going to project out to the world. So clear that out, create a new projection, tell a new
Absolutely.
story. I love that you say you're not from here. I have my tattoo that says I'm not from here either. That's why I love you so much, Suzanne. I thank you so much for sharing your journey, because I know it's going to touch others. And I believe, just like you were talking earlier with your group, how you want to help this new world, or this whatever is happening. I hate to call it a new world, but we all need to band together and just keep shining our own light. And I want to thank you so much for being a big part of my own journey. I love you, my dear. I look
I love
forward
you too.
to seeing great things come from you. Maybe you and I'll teach a class soon, and we'll just
Oh, I
offer
would
it.
love that.
Wouldn't that be fun? So you
It
enjoy your
would.
day. Thank you for spending it with me, and love and light
Absolutely.
to
Same
you.
here.
Love and
Love
light
and
to you.
light
I'll
to you.
see you soon.
Okay, thank you. Can I say one more
Yes,
thing though?
please.
I do have to say that spiritual bath of yours and that meditation is amazing.
Oh, honey, thank
I
you.
am going to incorporate that into my practices also. And if
And
people,
share it.
oh, absolutely. Because when you feel that heaviness and that weight down, it really does, it cleanses you. Like, even if you don't think that it does. And I had that moment where I'm sitting there, and I'm sharing this and then I'm done, I promise. But I've been waiting to share this.
We have all the time we want.
Because
this is ours. Nobody controls this.
Right.
You and I do.
That's true. That's true. But I was in, I got all the ingredients. And then the one thing I did different was I actually got eucalyptus also. I forgot to put the rose petals in there. It's actually still in my refrigerator.
But you know what?
I did.
That's what's so great about these rituals. You make it your own, because it may not, everything may not work for you, but at least you have a guidepost.
Yes, no, facts, yes. But I was sitting in there, and, I noticed these differences actually in there and then when I was out. But as I was sitting, you know how you sit in the tub? Normally your hands and everything, they just go to the bottom, right? No, mine were floating literally. And during that, it's like my body was waving, like making waves. And so I'm like, the water's moving, my eyes are closed, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is really, and like, as soon as you sit in it, you just feel it already clearing and working. And then I opened up my eyes and I really realized I was not inside myself. So, yes.
So cool. What a benefit.
But it was kind of scary at first. And I'm hearing them because I was listening to the meditation you have, and I'm looking and I'm like, wow, this is really working. I'm like, okay, hurry up and close your eyes, because I don't want to get stuck like this, So, and then I went back into this wave again. But the most significant thing, and my comparison, is like The Fifth Element, that movie with Bruce Willis and, her. And when they're in the elemental room and they're trying to figure out like what the fifth element is, and she goes like this and then the light comes out. Like, I did that moment, but not light came out. But I mind you, my eyes are closed. And then I'm like, what is going on? Then it was like a gentle, I didn't like fall back down, but it was gentle. And it was like, okay. And that whole effect lasted for a good couple of weeks. And I was just like twinkle toes. I felt so clear, so clean. I was refreshed and energized. And I also felt protected. So that's why it's like, you know what? Anybody, when you're like confused in the sludge, and I literally sat there and waited, and to the last drop, I felt like it sucked all of what did not belong to me from years. And so I just have to, that was what was so profound about that. And it was like, oh my gosh, but once again, it's to cleanse your aura and to cleanse your spirit. And I feel like it grounded me, and it, gave me more to just be, more true to me. So that in itself was powerful. So I have to say thank you for even sharing that with me.
Came from my grandma Oz and her people before her. You just keep paying it forward. And water's so transmutated. It just transmutes that energy. So that wave that you were feeling is energy.
Oh, yeah, it was. But it was good. And it wasn't, like sometimes you get energy and it's overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
It was not overwhelming. It was just, I was just going with it. And I'm like, what is this? And I didn't want to open. But the fact that I could feel the water kind of rippling on me. And I just was like, you know what? This spiritual bath is doing what it's supposed to do. So it was a blessing. Yeah, it was a blessing.
About that, because people don't realize that there's so many spiritual tools out there to help get you through. And what I love about having a spiritual bath is it's mind, body, and spirit. It integrates all three of those together.
Yes.
And you make it your own. What I love about what you just said is that it lasted.
Yes.
Like you felt. There's a ramification to everything. Everything we put into motion, however it ripples out, it will ripple back. So it's like when I see 1111, I always tell people, monitor your thoughts, because whatever you're sending out is what you're getting back. Mm-hmm. And when you're in a spiritual bath, if you just surrender to the process, it has a way of really getting into every nook and cranny of not only your human experience, but into your soul being. And that's one of those things that's like a light code. That's putting in this energetic light code that is, and calling pieces of your soul back to reintegrate into that you've left somewhere because of trauma or because of things beyond your control. You literally are the embodiment of letting things just unfold.
You have to, because you can stand in your own way sometimes. And that's so much I'm learning to just step out of my own way, and not that you're just, whatever happens, happens. But, what's meant to happen is going to happen in divine timing. And we have to be at a point that when it happens, we're ready to meet it and accept it.
Yes.
And move forward.
Hallelujah.
With it.
Preach
yes.
it, girl, because yes. And something that Spirit just told me is that you have recognized that Spirit is not separate from you.
Yes.
And that we are all spiritual energy. But moreover, mind plus spirit equals like a collaboration with that oneness, because we really, once we realize we are all one, once we realize and connect to that energy, I think our existence and what we've gone through in all of these lifetimes will translate that energy into something very beautiful.
Yes.
And you're like a fellow light worker. So I am calling all of you to follow this lead, go deeper, because one thing about you, my beautiful Suzanne, is you always go deeper. And if it resonates, you go down those rabbit holes, and it can
Absolutely.
be very painful. It can be very not pleasant, but it's not meant to be pleasant, because if it were pleasant all the time, you would not learn those lessons.
There you go.
Which translates into inspired action, and you are the embodiment of that inspired action. And for me, you're going to touch a lot of people just through this, not just through this video, but the rest of your life. You are touching, and you are helping those souls find their way.
Yes.
I just get choked up because I see the magic within you, and I just see that you're living your life with intention, and you have expanded that light beyond your body, and you are going to heal and touch so many others. And I thank Spirit and that higher power, that divine life force energy, for bringing you into my life, because you really have been such a beautiful part of my own journey.
Thank you, Rainey. I'm an empath. You're going to make me cry too. I'm
so close to it. I am so close to it.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for being part of my journey. So go out there and make a difference, everybody. And rewatch this video, because Suzanne will inspire you to do great things, because watch her. She's going to do great things. So Suzanne, much love to you. Thank you for your time.
I love you too.
We'll see you soon. Goodbye, everybody.
Be blessed. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes.